Now I've nearly finished this row 2. Okay, nearly finished it. I've got to the second last stitch. Now this is notoriously difficult to tell whether you finished the row or not, unless you're counting. But I can see that I have. I mean, this is chunky yarn, so it's much easier to see. And I would definitely advise you to do your first steps with chunky yarns, chunky hooks, that it's all really obvious. There is definitely one more stitch to go on this, even though it looks a bit strange and different from the others, because you've got this sort of diagonal here instead of a nice straight edge. So I'm going to take one more stitch out of that, if I can, somehow. Yarn over, take it off, yarn over, take the last 2 off, and now I've got a nice straight edge, so that's very reassuring. You can't always tell, especially when you're using fine yarns, and also if you're a little bit inexperienced, you may have been altering the tension as you go along, which distorts things somewhat. But eventually, with the practice, like everything, you'll begin to see quite clearly when you need another stitch and when you don't. Okay, but it tends to be the bane of people's lives at the outset. So that's your 2 rows. So thereafter, you continue the same. So row 1 is, well, the foundation chain obviously is very different because it's just chaining. Then row 1 of the double crochet goes in the back loop only because it's easier. It doesn't have to. You can go into both loops, but you'll find on the chain that's a pretty hard job. And then row 2 goes into the full stitch by using the holes on the side. And row 3 and 4 and 5 and thereafter are all the same. Don't forget your turning chain. Okay, so we're at the end. We've done that last stitch, and you can either turn first and chain, or you can chain first and turn, doesn't matter. So I'm going to chain first now, since I turned first last time. Do that chain, so we've now got the turning chain. It lifts us up to the next level. And then turn the crocheting, so it's now all ahead of me again. And start process off again, looking for that hole, first hole, okay, which I have got here. There we are. Yarn over, pull off, yarn over, pull the last 2 off. Keep it nice and loose, okay. After a while you begin to find where you need to pull tight and where you need to be gentle and light-fingered on it. So don't screw it and hold it really tightly, and don't hold your hook really tightly. It's not necessary. Just relax and just very lightly, with a very light, gentle touch, in it goes. That yarn over almost does it by itself now. And then gently lift that off and allow that to scroll down a bit so that you've got that space. Don't need to pull it, just allow it to settle nice and loose with that air through the stitch. Okay, and let's finish that stitch off. Nice and easy.